The point of crucifixion wasn't just that it killed people, wasn't just the pain that it caused. It was designed for humiliation. It was designed for intimidation. It was designed as a political tool to silence opposition. And there were a variety of ways to do it. They would bind or nail the victim to a stake, to a tree, or to a cross. And the victim wouldn't be that damaged when crucified, and there wouldn't be that much blood loss. And because of this, death came really slowly, sometimes over several days. There was no standard form universally practiced by the Romans, but there were some crucial components. Crucifixion always included whipping beforehand, and after the whipping, the victims were required to carry their own crossbeam to the crucifixion site. Then they were either nailed or tied to the cross with arms extended and raised up. They would always make sure the person in question was naked. It was more humiliating that way. So the person would be naked, fastened to a tree, stake, or cross, and they would put them at a major intersection where lots of people could see them, naked and groaning and probably not in control of their bodily functions after a while. But this is the important point. Crucifixion was reserved for enemies of the state. It was reserved for troublemakers. It was reserved for people who threatened Roman authority. So people would mock and ridicule them, these enemies of the state. And the good citizens of Rome most certainly didn't feel sorry for these terrorists. And then after the person died, it was common practice to leave them up to rot as food for birds, as a reminder of what happens to people who make trouble for the state. So this is the context we pick up from today. Jesus is on the cross, nailed to it, naked, and he is suffering. This is Luke 23, verses 32 to 34. Two other men, both criminals, were led out with him to be executed. When they came to the place called the Skull, they crucified him there, along with the criminals, one on his right, the other on his left. Jesus said, "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing." And they divided up his clothes by casting lots. "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing." I think one of the key questions is, forgive who? The two other men, the criminals? Forgive them? Forgive them? You mean the Romans? Them? How can we forgive them? They are the oppressors. They're evil. They deserve everything they get. Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing. Who are the them? Who are the they? Jesus doesn't say. The text doesn't say. Maybe it was someone specific. Father, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. The ones on the ground, the ones who are dividing up his clothes, that seems likely. Although the context implies this, the grammar doesn't demand it. It's left ambiguous. Maybe it's aimed at the people who are actually doing the crucifying. The guards who actually put him on the cross, the ones who hung him there. Father, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. And it could also expand. Maybe the guards weren't the bad ones here. Maybe they were just simple men carrying out bad orders, jaded and hard for sure, but not the decision makers. And let's say you're against the death penalty. Your dispute isn't primarily with the executioner who injects the lethal injection or the prison guards who walk the death row inmate to the execution chamber. Your dispute about the death penalty isn't directed against the electric company for supplying electricity for the electric chair. It's towards those who got the inmate there in the first place, against the lawmakers, against the powers, against the authorities who created the death penalty, who insisted on it. Father, forgive them, for they don't know what they're doing. Who is the them? Who is the they? I suppose it could be any of those groups, but I'm not totally convinced, because when we ponder this, it expands from the guards to those casting lots to his clothes, to those who cheered as he was led to Golgotha, to those who shouted for Barabbas to be released instead of Jesus, to Pilate and Herod, to Judas, to Thomas, to the Pharisees. Where do we stop? Do we stop there? Father, forgive them, for they don't know what they're doing. Is this a request to the Father? Is it a command? Does this mean it is so because he said this? Or is it like when I see an atrocity and I say, God, forgive them, more of a wish as a request? I'll tell you what it is for sure. It's a belief in a God who does forgive, and it's Jesus' heart's desire. God, through Jesus Christ, is always seeking ways to offer forgiveness. What kind of God do you believe in? Is he this kind of God? Jesus, Father, he is a God who does forgive. The way Jesus prays this is with confidence. It's not like he's unsure if God will forgive. He's confident. Father, forgive them. Is this the same God we believe in? The Father Jesus prayed to is eager to forgive wrongs in a way that seeks and searches and finds ways to forgive, not in a way that seeks to find wrongs in order to convict. Jesus doesn't look for more to condemn them about. He's not building a case against them. He's not looking for evidence. He's not looking for what they did not do. He's looking to forgive them. He is seeking a way out for them. Even now, when they divide up his clothes, even now hanging on the cross naked, even now as he is humiliated, he is trying to find a way. He looks for ways to forgive. Our understanding of God too often is one who looks for reasons to condemn. Jesus is one who desperately seeks for reasons to forgive. Father, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. Who is the them? Who is the they? Pilate? The guards? The Romans? The Pharisees? The crowds? Yes. But who else? It's me, it's you, it's us. God, through Christ Jesus, is always seeking ways to offer forgiveness to us. If we take a narrow context and assume that the word them and they points to someone in particular, to the guards, to Pilate, to the Sanhedrin, we miss the big point here. The them is for all. We know this. It was expected, but often missed. This is the point of Isaiah 53, a passage known as the suffering servant. In Isaiah, there's a concept introduced, a prophecy. One will come and he will suffer. But suffer for who? He will suffer for all. And he is the suffering servant. His name is Jesus. Father, forgive them, for they don't know what they're doing. Who is the them? Who is the they? The them and they is you, and it's me, it's all of us. God, through Jesus Christ, is always seeking ways to offer forgiveness to us. But we have trouble both accepting it and giving it. We like to blame. He did it. They did it. She's responsible. It's them. We seem to get stuck in this view that others are responsible. Forgive them? Forgive those bad people. They are the ones who crucified Jesus. If we understand Jesus' words from the cross, if we understand that Jesus is speaking those words to us, if we understand that we don't deserve that forgiveness, if we understand that God through Jesus Christ is desperately seeking ways to forgive, not condemn, maybe we will understand that those words are spoken to us. We are in need of forgiveness. Father, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. Who's the them? Who's the way? There's a reason it's left ambiguous. It's left that way because we need to read these words and hear these words directed at us, not at all those other people who need forgiveness, not them. No, at us, you and me. We put Jesus on the cross. We divided up his clothing. We humiliated him. You and me, we did this. Jesus spoke those words, Father, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. And it started there and exploded out like a massive ripple. I forgive you. These words radiate outwards and continue to radiate outwards. We can forgive because we have been forgiven. We can forgive because we know it was us who put Jesus on the cross. We can forgive because we know it was us he was speaking to when he spoke his words of forgiveness. They were words directed at all. Jesus seeks to forgive. He is seeking for ways to forgive us. He is seeking, searching, and finding. Father, forgive them. God, through Jesus Christ, is always seeking ways to offer forgiveness to us. Who put Jesus on the cross? We did.